Hi everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell. Welcome to a new video and welcome to Moscow. Now today I've got something a little bit different and something that probably you wouldn't expect to see on the channel, but I've come to a Russian robot fighting championships here in Moscow. BattleBots, I think that's what they call them. And we're going to go have a look behind the scenes before the event starts and check out some of the robots. Now I've come a little bit earlier than the actual main event here at the convention center. I just thought I'd show you the line of everyone coming in. And of course, everywhere you go in Russia, there is security checkpoints to get into events and different activities. And because we're here a little bit early, lots of people hanging around now. Judging by the crowd, I think it's a lot of students and a lot of younger people. So let's get through the crowds and go and check it out a bit closer. I just want to explain a couple of things before we go on inside to the backstage area. I was given a media pass to come. I did actually send an invite to them, and they were more than happy to have me come and make a video and show you Russian robots and BattleBots. And my knowledge about robots is very, very minimal, so please excuse me if I mis-explain anything, but I think it's an interesting video, and to see robots fighting each other here in Moscow. I did ask about tickets for this event, and it turns out that the stadium where this event's held, the actual tickets have been sold out for weeks and weeks ahead of time, and there's no chance of just turning up today and getting a general admission ticket. So this is very fortunate that I've got to come here. Now I think everyone's heading upstairs to the cafeteria before the event starts, because most people are here quite a bit early like I am. The place I'm actually at here in Moscow is called Crocus City Convention Center, and I've made quite a few different videos here. The helicopter convention, the truck convention, and it's really interesting to come on days where there's not events in some of the bigger halls and see it just empty, literally a day or two after the event finishes. And then you come today and then they've got another event hosted right behind here. So we're gonna walk on in and check it out a bit closer. This has actually worked out really nice because I've come in between sessions. I first arrived quite a few hours ago when they were doing the morning session, and I'm now gonna see the afternoon session in a little while. And to go behind the scenes and see it, it's going to be a little bit easier too, because it's not going to be as noisy, because once it starts, it's deafening inside. This is one of the few perks of having a YouTube channel, and I can just come in this side door over here. Of course, they gave me an accreditation and they checked all my information before I turned up. And this is the general area here where everybody comes in. And lots of the staff are here at the moment chilling out in between the event. It's been going on since very early morning today until late tonight. And they've got some other smaller robotics things set up as well, which is pretty neat. And they've even got some simulators. Of course, I am a little bit early for the main event, especially for this night session. So we're gonna just have a little brief look at the stadium and the seating here. And come a few hours from now, this will be crowded with people. So this is really a behind the scenes tour, and we're gonna go see some robots really soon. Have a look at all the seating as well. Now, this is gonna be full not too long from now, and everybody we saw at the entrance there were making their way towards the main part of this arena. And check it out, a BattleBots arena right here. And there's lots of noises going on in the background because lots of people are working on their vehicles. And they've got full seating on this other side. And this is also live streamed on different social media platforms as well. So if you couldn't get a ticket, you can watch it live on the internet. They do also use this giant video screen to show the fights of the different robots. They've obviously got it caged in here. There's acrylic sheeting all around it. And from what I understand, I mean, I've seen this before on television, but I've never seen it in person. So I think it could be really cool. Well, I hope it is. And just coming here is pretty neat in itself. All the equipment they've got set up. Wow, there's seating around the back as well. Have a look at all of this. There's a lot of seating. And then up the top here is where they're doing all the television production. This is pretty neat. And somebody from television right there. How neat is that? We're really behind the scenes. I'm super curious, everybody who's watching this. Have you seen BattleBots before? I've seen it on television a few times, never in person. So I'm curious, let me know in the comments, have you seen this kind of thing? Have you been to an event? Is it something that you're interested in? Now, this is a one-off event that's held today right here in Moscow, but they do hold it annually, and they're also planning to take it to other cities as well. This is maybe the bit that a lot of people want to watch. This behind the scenes of the BattleBots and all the teams and all the different, what do they call them? Robots? I'm not sure the exact terminology if I've got it right or not, but there is all of them laid out as we walk around, and we can even get up close and see them. Maybe we can get some secrets and we can share them and sell the secrets to other teams. It's pretty cool. Walking around, I've got a chance to see some of the different robots up close, and this team is called Krylov, and the name of their robot is called the Ant, and they were so nice to open up the interior of it for me, and it just looks so complicated. How they possibly know what it does, I'm not sure, but one of the drivers here and also one of the young girls, and these are teenagers, they're still in school, and they made this robot. How cool is this? Now, of course, I am here in between the events, so most people are either really chilling out and trying to zone out of all the information of, you know, fighting these robots, or they're busy taking them apart and trying to figure out what they need to do to win against the next robot. And we've got another one right here where they've got the top of it off right now, and a lot of them have these pretty crazy like hammers that come down, and the idea is to try to disable the other robot when they fight each other. Walking around behind the scenes, there's some teams from other countries, and there's a team here from India. Now, these guys have flown in specially for this, and they're here only for 5 days, and they're the Panthers, the Indian Panthers. Now, of course, me being from Australia, our great rivalry with India is in cricket. Maybe not so much in robotics. I think they'd beat us very badly in robotics, but they have their BattleBot right here, and they've got a short time to prepare it for the next event. Hopefully a little bit later on we'll see this team fighting, and for now they're all just hanging out and having lunch. And have a look at their robot right here. This is pretty neat. And I like the fact they're all dressed up and they're all representing their robot and the company and school that they're a part of. This thing's pretty intense. I wouldn't want to be on the back of this thing when it's spinning around. These are almost dangerous to a point. The one over on this side here is all glossed up and shiny. It's almost like a polished stainless steel that they've got on theirs. Can't see any of the workings on it, but I think that's the whole point, is to try to make them multi-dimensional so that they're impossible to damage and to get access to the workings inside them. As I walk around a little bit more, there is another international team here, and I wonder if you can recognize from the flag, they're from Turkey. And I was very curious what the name of their robot is called, and they told me It's called Turkish Delight, is the name of their robot. It's actually not called that. What's it actually called?
Lonely Wolf.
Lonely Wolf. And they're busy working away on it now. And they're trying to guard their Lonely Wolf from some of the Russian bears on the other stands. And they're completely enthralled in their robot right now. It's nice I can walk around and show them up close. It's really interesting to see these up close and all the different features of them and the different designs. Now they're literally all next to each other, so they can actually go and just have a look at the next guy's robot. And there's another one here with this kind of blade that spins around, and they've got a motorbike chain right here that drives the wheel. And the team over here, so they're giving out noisemakers to all of the people in the crowd, and it seems like they've decided to make them into musical instruments. Now, I want you to take your mind back to the World Cup that was in South Africa. If anybody remembers the World Cup football in South Africa, they had noisemakers called vuvuzelas, and they were basically a pipe or a horn that people could make noise with to try to distract the opposition team. And it looks like a whole lot of boxes of those made it here to this arena today, and some of the contestants have modified them slightly and made them into instruments. Further around the back of the arena, there's a few more of the robots, and there's nobody with this one, but I'm wondering, because of the color pink, maybe it's lady drivers. I'm very curious. And another one here. They've really got them in parts at the moment, but they've got quite a bit of time to get them ready for the next events. But just the workings on them and the complexity of them is just mind-blowing. This one right in the corner here has got the word Weber on it. I wonder if that's named after the barbecue. Does anybody have a Weber barbecue at home? This looks pretty mean. I wonder what the reference to Weber is. Maybe it shoots flames out. Maybe it makes shashlik for you. I wonder. So I've just found out that it's not the Weber barbecue. It's Weber Robotics, which is a company in Moscow that deals with robots, of course, and steel fabrication. And this is their other robot right here. And it has a very big hammer on it that is not on there right now, and they're busy reassembling it. And there's a lot of care being taken to get this ready for the next event. There's a very interesting robot. Now, I know I've said that a lot as I've walked around, and I've got this big smile on my face and grin seeing this. This one has almost like tank tracks on it. This is actually rubber though, and these are very similar to the tracks that they've got on ski-doos. If anybody's seen what they're like, the winter off-road vehicles. And it's also got this very fast spinning blade right here. And this one's called the Red Horn. And it's pretty interesting. They've actually got one of the tracks that they took off from the earlier event. But I'm curious how it goes up against some of the ones with the big hammers and blades, these rubber tracks. Have a look at the Matador right here, or the Bull, right. Matador or the Bull. Yeah, just the remote control, I wouldn't know what to do. Look at all the different switches and buttons that he's got on this thing. It's taken a little bit of damage at some point. Looks like the left and right indicator here is not faring too well. Maybe when he did the right turn or the left turn, he didn't put it on. Oh, the weapon. But this looks like you can... Oh, okay. So small challenges that need to be worked on. So the Bull might end up at the restaurant for dinner later, unless they can manage to get this retooled. The other thing they could use this for, they could take this to cut the grass. I think this would be a good, interesting weapon for cutting grass. the Matador. Walking around backstage, it's really very interesting, especially to stop and talk to some of the teams and the explanation of the teams that won or the teams that lost in the early rounds and some of the features of the teams. And you know, there's the amount of people that are involved in some teams. Like over here you can see the Weber team that I pointed out a bit earlier and the workmanship that goes into it. And then the Matador, which I've just shown a little bit earlier. There's just 3 of them here. And father, son, and one other person. And just a small team, which is just amazing though, and what they managed to put together. As it starts to get just a little bit louder in the main arena, and everyone starts to come inside, I'm going to slowly make my way out the front, and hopefully we can get a viewing of some of the fights. Is that what they call fights? And there's some more of the media that are here now as well. And all the teams working on their models. I'm pretty sure this is something similar to the robot vacuum. I wonder if they have modified it slightly. It's pretty neat how they've got this completely circular design right here on their unit. The whole idea is try to protect yourself from other robots hitting you somehow, or a hammer coming down, or a blade. Hello. Oh, and oh, the skunk. I think this is the skunk.
No, it's not skunk.
Not a
it's like a bear, but it's a crazy bear.
Crazy bear. So the team here were really nice to explain about the skunk. It's actually a honey badger and not a skunk. And then they've also got the feet at the back here and some other very dangerous parts on it. Looks like the local television is here to interview the same team that we were just looking at and ask them questions about their machine. So I've got that same access, just a little bit different. I had to come outside for a few minutes because the noise of those horns is just starting to get a little bit deafening. Now, of course, once the event starts proper very soon, it's going to be very loud. So I thought I'd come outside just for a second. I really hope you find this video interesting, particularly the walk around backstage and to see some of the robots up close. I'm not sure how much we're going to see of the actual fighting because of the fact that it's in an arena and it's paneled off with the perspex around it, but I hope we can catch at least a little bit of the atmosphere of it. And I'm going to take a break for a few minutes and then head back on inside. If you want to know how serious they are about the production quality of the event and the live streaming, they've got the TV trucks right here. And I'm almost certain that some of these trucks are the ones that they use for the World Cup football. I'm not 100% sure, but just looking at them, they look very similar to the ones that they used then. They were custom made for sporting events all over Russia after the World Cup finished. But it's a pretty serious setup that they've got. My wife is always getting on to me about my cables for my computer and how messy they are. And have a look at the ones just to get the television up and running. There's a bit of a countdown clock on now to the first events. And you can see now lots of people have come on in. There is a lot of younger people here, I would say teenagers, university students, and lots of people that want to see robots. And they've got the big overhead screen here and some of the earlier fights today and some of the damage that they took. It's pretty interesting how many people are here. And these noisemakers, my gosh, they are super loud. I didn't realize just how loud they get. It looks like this is the trophy that everybody's come to win. They've got a very interesting metal welded looking trophy, and this will go to the champion a little bit later. So I decided to come up to the terrace seating up the top here, and it is loud, let me tell you. And everybody's not actually inside here yet. Lots of people actually, I think, maybe want to do standing room down by the arena. And they've got a countdown now, not too long until the first event starts. And there's a lot of people in here. I mean, I would estimate maybe 5,000 people. Event hosts have come out now to prepare the crowd and warm them up. And all of these noisemakers. Wow. Yeah, very loud. They're giving everybody kind of different announcements about what's going to come and which team to cheer for. Definitely quite a bit busier than when I first got here earlier today. All the crowd over here. And I think a lot of people want to be just up right at the edge of the arena here and don't want to sit back in the grandstands. Hey, not to worry where you sit. Now, it's going to be very loud in a lot of parts of this now, so check out the robot right here. This is cool. Oh, come on. Wow. That's crazy. Of course, the other thing is selfies and videos. Everybody wants them. And they've got a bit of a dance show at the beginning right here. Wow, this is cool. So basically the first round is underway and two different teams fighting it out here. So a lot of the teams that you're seeing now are teams that I looked at earlier backstage. I even got to chat to some of them. Oh, a bit of damage. And particularly the one, that's the red one right here with the rubber tracks. The panel came off. And of course, they're in the arena down below there. It's a little bit easier to see on the big screen. Wow. I think the blue team might be disabled, I think. Perhaps they won. Whoa! There we go. Wow. It's multiple rounds, and then the idea is basically to disable the other robot so they can't move or it's finished. And you can see the red robot here looks like it's won, I think. The crowd seemed to like it. Oh, countdown. There you go. Early knockout. The they have the cleanup crew come in the ring now and take all the broken parts away and broken bits. And that's how it's done. And after the knockout, the red team wins.
Ну что ж, это было действительно классно. Давайте еще раз поаплодируем. Мне так нравится, когда мы за высокий шум.
Big crowds, really big crowds. Wow, this is cool. And we saw this robot on the left a little bit earlier, the Weber, and I got a chance to talk to these guys. And this is the third event. There's quite a lot of them. I'm not going to cover all of them in the video because it's going to be quite a very long video, of course. But this is the third of, I think, around about 20 one-on-one duels. They actually have a referee right here who determines the final winner if there's, you know, not an ending to the fights. But let's see now. There is a Weber right there. There's a bit of a countdown. All the crowd back here. A lot of people. Okay, let's wait for this next battle. There we go. There's a couple of commentators who are pretty excited as these battles go on. It's really a bit of a duel. Well, it's got like a scoop on it that lifts up. Looks like the judge has to go to the other corner. Of course, it's a sealed ring that they're in, so nobody's allowed inside. A lot of them are battery or electrified as well, so they're kind of dangerous, especially with the wires and the internal unit of the machine. There we go. There's like pieces of the two different robots all over the arena as well. Yeah, at the back of the green one, they've got like a spinning blade. Let's see what happens. I'm not the best commentator when it comes to this, but they lock together. No. So we might let them fight it out, and we'll see if there's a winner declared very soon. Looks like we found a winner out of the two of them. Whoever won it, the barbecue goes on to the next round. And everybody looks happy. So after 20 battles, it was a knockout ending basically. This is the winning robot, and they've actually took off some of the panels so you can see it a little bit closer. This is also a souvenir that they got from one of the losing robots, and the team signed it for them, which is pretty neat. Have a look at some of the cuts here that it made. 22 millimeter steel And this is shaved right through. Wow. Now, I was thinking they were going to get the big trophy, and it turns out they got certificates. The big trophy is a carryover. You can see all of the interest. Everybody came to check it out and get as close as they can of the winning robot. Now, the name of the robot, if you translate it into English, is St. John's Wort. That's the name of the winning robot right here. So, and they're pretty happy and talking about it with everybody and talking about their tactics. You can see all of the bits and pieces still on the table here. They really are just run by a fairly straightforward remote control that would have it for remote control cars. So, yeah, well done to the St. John of Wort team. Okay, everybody, we've come to the end of the vlog. Today was really a bit of a vlog rather than a video, you know, like where I'm doing about a specific topic like a shop or a shopping center or a house. So I thought this might be interesting. I hope it is, and I hope it was. If you've reached the end, thank you so much for watching right to the end of the video. It was really quite a long event. There was a lot of fights. I guess you'd call it fights between the two different teams as they went head to head. So if I was to follow every one of them on the video, we'd have like 5-hour video. So I just showed a couple of them because I thought it was just interesting to point them out. For me, most of the interesting part was going backstage and showing things, you know, behind the scenes and to see the robots up close. Obviously, it's very hard to see them in the arena when they were fighting. So, yeah, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Post a comment. Let me know what you think of this type of video. It's quite different from everything else I've done on my channel recently, so perhaps you like this kind of thing. If you want to watch another video, firstly, there'll be a link to Telegram. So if you want to follow my Telegram channel, you can click the link to it right here. There's also another video on the channel that's going to come right up on the screen now if you want to check that out. Perhaps an older video you've not seen. And I'm off on another adventure. Bye, everybody.